Today, I would like to take you on a walk to another city on the banks of the Danube River, the old town of Krems an der Donau, which is one of the oldest cities in Austria. Although today Krems is much bigger than it was centuries ago, the old town still has its own unique medieval ambience. Mentioned for the first time in documents from late 9th, early 10th century, today the old town of Krems is designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site due to its well-preserved medieval architecture. If the town of Melk you saw in the previous video became famous because of its abbey and the abbey's library, Krems was popular with its significance as a trading hub along the Danube River. To my knowledge, centuries ago here weren't any schools, although today the city is home to the Danube University Krems and the European School of Art History. Although the old town can be accessed from all sides without any signals to discern the older from the newer part of the city, I enter it through the Steinertor or Steiner Gate you saw in the beginning, and which is the only part that remained from the ancient walls and ramparts that once protected the old town. I'll tell you more about this gate a little bit later, because after the trip from Vienna up to Krems, I needed desperately a big cup of strong coffee. The Berger Café was the first coffee and pastry shop I came across. I opted for a double cappuccino and some cakes, but although I'm not a kind of a person that pictures his food in photos and videos, I can tell you it was as delicious as the cafe is elegant. But come on, don't relax, we have a town to explore. On the main line of the old town of Krems, among the picturesque houses, I came across this small church, the Bürgerspitalkirche, or the city's hospital church, dedicated to Saint James and Saint Philip. In 15th century, the care facility for old and destitute citizens, which was initially located outside the city, was demolished and was moved inside the city walls along with the church that served it. I wanted to visit it, but although the outer door was open, the inside door was closed, so I could just take a glimpse inside, nothing more.
Wie de rest van Dreier. Nu de rest van
I was enchanted by this place and these houses along it, as from the nice way the modern stores and cafes blended with the overall feeling of the old Krems. And at this small square I found this fountain, the Simandlbrunnen, or the Fountain of Simandl, named after the Simandl family, who were prominent citizens of Krems during the medieval period. Built in the late 16th century, the fountain is one of the symbols of the town, and I have found two legends, one tragic and the other one funny, related to the fountain, but before to tell them to you, I want to draw your attention to this orange house with the sundial in its upper part. You can find such sundials at many old houses in Austria, as the sculpture of the Virgin Mary in the niche in the facade of this green building. But let's return to the legends of the fountain of Simandl. The tragic one relates the story of a wealthy merchant in Krems named Simandl, who had a beautiful daughter named Euphemia. She was deeply in love with a young man from a noble family in Krems, and despite her father's objections, the two young vowed to remain faithful until death. However, the young man was called away to serve in a distant war. As time passed, rumors began to circulate that Euphemia's beloved had been killed in battle. Unable to bear the thought of living without him, Euphemia decided to throw herself into the Danube River. In his sorrow, her father immortalized the memory of the two young by commissioning the construction of a fountain in their honor. The folk legend tells that long time ago, the women in Krems were very harsh to their husbands, and one day the men gathered to discuss what they could do to appease the women. The solution they found was for them to start behaving in a better way. It worked, and so everyone was glad and they lived happily ever after. Legends. In the meantime, I'm climbing to another church in Krems, the Piaristenkirche, or the Piarist Church of Our Lady. It is a significant Baroque-style church built between 1717 and 1723 by the Piarist order, a Catholic religious congregation founded in Spain in the 17th century. This church is a prime example of Baroque architecture in Austria, and here is a small courtyard next to the church. The exterior of the church is relatively modest compared to other Baroque churches, although there are several niches where you can find sculptures and paintings as dioramas in real scale, recalling some events from Jesus' life. I forgot to turn off my phone and someone sent me messages right when I was shooting. No escape from technology. Anyway, I've never seen somewhere else such a decorative solution for an exterior of a church. I was told that the Piarist church is the most beautiful one in Krems, so I decided to look inside, and luckily I could shoot inside, so I'm able to show you the particularly impressive and richly decorated interior with elaborate frescoes, masterful wood carving, and gilded ornaments typical of the Baroque style, including ornate floral motifs, cherubs and swirling patterns. The church contains several altars dedicated to various saints, each featuring elaborate Baroque sculptures and paintings. The main altar is dedicated to Saint Joseph, the patron saint of the Piarist order, and is adorned with a statue of the saint surrounded by angels. The pulpit, carved from wood and adorned with gilt decorations, is another notable feature of the church's interior. As quite every church in Austria, the Piarist church houses an organ, although it is not the biggest one I've ever seen. I found that this one is dating back to the 18th century. The church being built on a small hill, in front of the entrance you will find these covered stairs, some sort of tunnel lit by the day only by tiny openings in the walls. It takes you straight to the center of the old town of Krems and the parish church of Sankt Veit or Saint Vitus. It is believed to be built in the 13th century. Over the centuries, the church has undergone various renovations and reconstructions reflecting the changing architectural styles, but by the time I came to it, the day began to fade, and from the several hours of walking around the town, I was already really hungry. So shame on me, but at this moment I was much more interested in food. Spirit over matter, they say. Well. But before leaving the old town of Krems, I would like to tell you a little bit more of Steinertor or Steiner Gate, as I promised in the beginning. The Steinertor dates back to the late 15th century and is one of the oldest surviving structures in Krems. It was originally built as part of the city's defensive walls, which were constructed to protect the town from invasions and attacks during the Middle Ages. The gate is characterized by its robust stone constructions and fortified design and consists of two massive round towers flanking a central arched passageway. The towers are topped with conical roofs and feature narrow arrow slits for defense. In addition to its defensive role, the Steinertor served as a toll gate and checkpoint for travelers entering and exiting Krems. Merchants, traders and travelers passing through the gate were required to pay tolls and taxes. Of course, over the centuries, the Steinertor also has undergone several renovations and restorations to maintain its structural integrity and to be preserved as a symbol of Krems's medieval heritage. Now I'll let you to enjoy the rest of the walk along the main street, its lights and the beautiful evening sky.